Hello everyone. This is my second lecture on network theory. In first lecture, we discussed about the basic concepts of charge, current, voltage, power, energy, and some problems. Now, today's lecture, I am going to discuss about circuit elements. Now, circuit elements are the basic building block of a electrical circuit. Those are connected in a closed loop. Now, circuit analysis is the process of determining voltages across the circuit elements or currents passing through the circuit elements. Now, there are two types of circuit elements. One is active element, another one is passive element. Now, passive elements usually absorb the energy. Example is resistors, and passive elements also store energy. The examples are capacitors and inductors. Active element can generate or supply energy to the circuit while passive element cannot do that. Typical active elements include generator, batteries, operation amplifier, solar panels, fuel cells, etc. Now the most important active elements are the voltage or current sources that generally deliver power to the circuit connected to them. There are two kinds of voltage or current sources. One is independent source, another one is dependent source. Now an ideal independent source provides a specified voltage or current that is completely independent of other circuit elements. In other words, an ideal independent voltage source delivers to the circuit whatever current is necessary to maintain its terminal voltage constant. Okay, and physical sources such as batteries and generators may be regarded as approximation of or approximations to ideal voltage sources. Okay, so those are physical sources are not ideal, but we approximate that as ideal voltage source. Now the symbols of independent voltage source, and in this case I have taken the DC volt independent voltage source, and here we have this plus and minus polarity sign, and this is current. That so current source is always have this direction of current, either upward or lower, either upward or downward. Okay, and for voltage source we must have polarity plus minus. Now this is the symbol of DC voltage source. You can see the waveform. It is a constant, so it is DC. What is the frequency of that? It is 0 because t is goes to infinity. So f equal to 1 by t. That means 1 by infinity equal to 0. Now this is the AC voltage source, and this is Vm sin omega t, where Vm is the maximum voltage. This is the Vm maximum voltage here, and this is a cosine waveform. Okay, and this is your t, one peak to another peak. Okay, this is your t, f equal to 1 by t, that you can find out. Now current source, this is a example of DC current source, ideal current source. It can be AC also. Here you have to write Im. Im cosine of sin omega t, or Im sin of omega t. Now dependent sources. Dependent sources are usually designated by diamond shaped symbol. In case of ideal, it is by a circle, and dependent source designated by diamond shaped symbols. An ideal dependent or controlled source is an active element in which the source output is controlled by another voltage or current that is present in the circuit. Okay. Since the control of the dependent source is achieved by voltage or current of some other element in the circuit, it follows that there are four possible types of dependent sources. One is voltage controlled voltage source, VCVS, current controlled voltage source, voltage controlled current source, current controlled current source. Okay. Now the symbols are symbols of dependent sources. Now dependent sources are useful in modeling elements such as transistor, operational amplifier, and integrated circuit. That means a transistor is a nonlinear device, but it can be modeled using a dependent source, then we can analyze that very easily. Okay, so that is the application of dependent sources. So transistor, MOSFETs, all can operation amplifier can be modeled by using dependent sources. Okay, so analysis of dependent source in circuit theory helps to analyze the circuit that consists of transistor, MOSFET, operation amplifiers, etc. in electronic circuits. Okay. Now in that case, this is the voltage control voltage source, where how you can find out, because here the voltage source we have plus minus sign, so that means this is a voltage source, and V out equal to mu V in. So here this is the control part, and this is your output. So this is V, so voltage controlled voltage source, and here we have some gain factor, multiplier factor. Now this is a plus minus, so this is a voltage source was controlled by this current I. So here V out equal to Pi or rho I. So this I is the control part, so current controlled voltage source. Now here you can see this is a current source because it is showing the arrow. That means it is a current source, and this is the input. Controlling part is the voltage. So you can see output is I, controlling part is voltage, and multiplier factor or constant term. Again, current source controlled by current. So I out equal to beta I. So this I is controlling part, so current controlled current source. So these are the diamond shaped symbols. Plus minus means voltage source, arrow means current source, that we have to remember. Now take one example of that. An example of a current control voltage source. So here you can see this is a plus minus, so voltage source. What is the controlling part here? 10I. 10 is the constant. So I is the current. So current controlled voltage source. And where is the current in the circuit? Here is the current. That is the current flowing through this C module or C circuit element that is controlled. That control the voltage source. That value control the voltage source. So on the right hand side, this 10I of the voltage source depends on the current I through element C. Okay, so this 10I is written as 10I V, 10I volt, not 10I ampere, because this is a voltage source. The unit of this is 10I V, voltage, because it is a voltage source, current controlled voltage source. Okay. The concept of ideal sources. Now, ideal voltage source, dependent or independent, will always produce any current required to ensure that the terminal voltage stays at stated or at constant. Similarly, an ideal current source will produce the necessary voltage required to ensure that the current always flows at the stated magnitude, or current should be constant, and it will provide the necessary voltage across the circuit. Thus, an ideal source could, in theory, supply an infinite energy to the circuit. However, it should be noted that not only sources supply power to a circuit, they can be configured to absorb power as well. Now, say for a voltage source, we know that voltage can, we know the voltage but not the current supplied. That means for a voltage source, we know the voltage across the, for a voltage source we know the voltage but not the current supplied or drawn by it. Okay. And by same token, we know the current supplied by a current source, but we do not know the voltage drop across it. So this is the basic point that you have to remember. And we will come in case of nodal and mesh analysis that this is working. So that is why we have to use some different technique, nodal analysis and mesh analysis, to analyze the circuit. Now, concept of practical sources. A practical voltage source always possesses a very small value of internal resistance R. Okay, the internal resistance of a voltage source is always connected in series with it. For a current source, it is always connected in parallel with it. Now, as the value of the internal resistance of a practical voltage source is very small, its terminal voltage is assumed to be almost constant within a certain limit of current flowing through the load. A practical current source is always assumed to deliver a constant current irrespective of the terminal voltage across the load connected it. Now this is the practical source. So this is your ideal source where we have only current source. Okay. In case of practical source, we will have some internal resistance connected in parallel with current source, and it is connected to some load resistance. So here is the load resistance, but this is for ideal. Now for ideal, what happens is all the current must flow through the RL. Okay, there should not be any current that is flowing through this R internal. That is for ideal source. That means this should not be there. That means this R internal value should be infinity. Infinity means resistance value is infinity, means it is open circuited. No current will flow. And for voltage source, what you can see, this is the ideal voltage source. Say load resistance is connected here. Now for practical source, it has a series resistance connected with that. That means here there should not be, if this Vs voltage should apply here at this RL resistance, there should not be any voltage drop. That means this R value should be equal to 0. Okay. Then V equal to IR, that is according to Ohm's law. So this becomes 0. So this is the concept of ideal and practical source. I am taking the example here. So this is your ideal voltage source Vs, at that time Rs equal to 0. Practical, that there should be a resistance in series with voltage source. For ideal, this should be 0. Then there will be no voltage drop. So this Vs will apply at V out. For practical, Vs will be lesser, V out should be less than Vs, because there should be little voltage drop here across the series resistance. Now for practical, ideal and practical current source. For practical current source, where what happens? For current source has a resistance in parallel with that. And for ideal, what happens? This resistance must be equal to infinity. That means there should not be any current that is flowing through this RP. So all current will available at V out point. Okay, at this plus point. And if this is practical source, some amount of current will flow here. So here we will get less amount of current, little bit less amount of current, because of this practical current source, or having a resistance value in parallel with current source. Now there is one technique that is called source transformation. Here what happens? We have a voltage source, a resistance, and a load resistance. Now according to Ohm's law, the mathematical expression of Ohm's law is V equal to IR, that you have studied in class 10 or 11 maybe. Or so V equal to IR. Okay. So now we can convert this voltage source into current source. How? Now Vs equal to IR. So what will be I? I equal to Vs by Ri. So Is, that will be equal to Vs by Ri in parallel with the resistance Ri. So simple, it is voltage source, practical voltage source with load resistance. So what is the current flowing through this, that we have to find out. Now that is equal to what? Is equal to this voltage drop equal to Vs equal to Is into Ri. So Is equal to Vs by Ri. So here Is equal to Vs by Ri, and in parallel with Ri. Now later we will do some problem. We will solve some problem, then you will understand the concept again. Okay. Now say ideal voltage source connected in series. Then what will happen? Now if ideal voltage is connected in series, so we have to look, if it is DC voltage source, we have to look for the polarity of the voltage source. Minus plus, minus plus. So both polarity are same. At below it is minus, then plus. It is going minus to plus, minus to plus. So these two voltage source will add. Total voltage V will be V1 plus V2. Okay. The ideal voltage is connected in series. So this is minus plus minus plus. So it will add up and total voltage will be 15 volt. Now here see, minus plus then plus minus. So both are not in same order, that is opposite order. Okay. Minus, this is going from minus to plus. Here it is, if you go in that direction, minus plus. So both are adding up. Voltage increase, minus to plus, minus to plus, and here it is 9. So it is additive, and here it is minus to plus increase, say here plus to minus, so it is decreasing. So 10 minus 5 volt, so here result is 5 volt. So this kind of thing you have to do in circuit analysis. Okay, voltage is adding or So in series connection, what happens? Voltage is either added or subtracted. Okay. So addition of voltage done in series. Now for ideal current source, addition of current or subtraction of current can be going on when it is connected in parallel. Okay. So when it is connected in parallel, what happens? 5 ampere currents, 5 ampere currents, and at this node, these two 5 ampere currents added up and 10 ampere leave from that particular point or node. Now this is 5 amp and here it is 5 amp. This is going up, this is going down. Here after that what will happen? Here the resulting current will be 0 ampere, right? 5 and 5 is going here, so 5 minus 5 0. So here it is 0. Okay. So according to KCL, the Kirchhoff's current law, it is stated that algebraic sum of currents at any node or at any point will be equal to 0. Should be equal to 0. We will discuss that again later. Now say this is 5 ampere current is entering at this point, 3 ampere is leaving. So how much is going that way? So that is it, 2 ampere is going that way. Okay. So at this node 5, the minus 3, then again minus 2. That means 0. So at algebraic sum equal to 0 at any node according to KCL. Now ideal current source in series, what will happen? So in case of series, ideal current will be the same. Okay. So if this is a current source 5 ampere, here it is say 5 ampere. So in this series circuit, same current will flow. So in case of current source, in series same current will flow. In parallel, current will add up or subtracted depend on the direction of the current. For voltage source, in series connection, voltage source can add up. Okay. And in parallel connection, voltage source, the value of voltage should be same value. Now practical voltage source connected in series. Here what happened? Minus plus minus plus. So this will be add up V1 plus V2 and two resistances are there. Those are also added up. Okay. Now ideal voltage source connected in parallel. Now if voltage source connected in parallel, what happens? The value should be equal to same. Value should be same. That means V whatever the value of voltage is V1 and V2, that should be equal to same as V. The 10 volt, 10 volt, this parallel connection, that should be 10. So in parallel connection, voltages are same. In series connection, voltage added up. In case of current source, in series that will be same, and in parallel, it will added up. Okay. So practical voltage source is connected in parallel. So V and current Ri, R1, R2 resistance are there. So what we can do is we can find out I1, that is V1 by R1, I2, V2 by R2. Then we can add up these two. So I1 equal to I1 plus I2 and R1, R2 in parallel, that we can make it find out the equivalent resistance, and then we can find out total voltage source with resistance value. Now in ideal, current should be the same, so I1, I2 must be equal to I. Okay. So again, a current practical current source, so that we can convert into voltage source, that is V equal to I1 into R1. Okay. R1 in series with voltage source, and V2 will be I2 into R2 in series with R2. So it is source transformation. Then we can add these two voltage, minus 2 plus minus 2 plus, so same polarity, add up. So V equal to V1 plus V2, and we can add two resistance value. Then we can find out I. How? That will be V divided by R. This V divided by this R, and these are in parallel with that current source. Now when ideal source is connected in parallel, I1, I2, that should be added up. If this direction is downward, this direction is upward. So here that will be I1 minus I2. Okay. So that we have to take care direction. This is a similar thing. I1 practical source, I1 plus I2 is the total current, and total resistance is R1 parallel R2, that is equal to R. Now classification of circuit elements. Now circuits elements are basically linear or non-linear type, active type, passive, unilateral, bilateral, time invariant, time variant. These are the classification of circuit elements. Now, active elements are the circuit elements are the circuit elements which possesses energy of their own and can impart it to other element of the circuit. That means it can supply energy or power to the circuit. Now, active elements are two types: voltage source and current source. Okay. Now, in that case, what we have to know is that is V and I. If multiplication power is what, V into I, that already we have studied in first lecture. So if Vi is positive, that means it absorbs energy. Negative is supplied energy. That we have seen in previous lecture. So here what we can see is V is positive, I is positive. So this part is passive. First quadrant is passive. And if you look at third quadrant, what we can see, I is negative, V is also negative. Now if we multiply V into I, becomes positive, minus minus become positive. So positive slope we have for passivity or passive element, first and third quadrant. Now for second and fourth quadrant, V is positive, I is negative, so P equal to Vi is negative. Here also I is positive, V is negative, so this is negative. That means it is active. So second coordinate and fourth coordinate give us active element according to the Vi characteristics, and first and third gives us passive. So here it is passive, this is also passive, and if it is here, then that means this is negative, P equal to minus Vi, so it becomes active. Now passive elements and active elements examples are also transistor, MOSFET, those are active element because they can amplify the signal. That means it is giving some kind of energy to the circuit. And if you draw the equivalent circuit of transistor or MOSFET, we will have a dependent source in the circuit. Dependent source. That means it becomes active element. Now that part I think you will study in analog electronics. So now passive elements. The passive elements of an electric circuit do not possess energy of their own. They receive energy from the sources, and passive elements are the resistance, inductors and capacitance. Now when electrical energy is supplied to a circuit element, it will respond in one or more of the following ways. If the energy is consumed, then the circuit element is pure resistor. If energy is stored in magnetic field, the element is inductor, and if the energy is stored in electric field, the element is pure capacitor. Now we will study about inductor and capacitor later on. Now linear elements. Now, linear elements show the linear characteristics of voltage and current. That is, its voltage current characteristics are at all times a straight line through the origin. That is the main point, through the origin. Okay. For example, the current passing through a resistor is proportional to the voltage applied through it, and the relation expressed is V equal to IR, right? So IR, so this is nothing but a straight line equation, and here what is the plus Y straight line equation is Y equal to Ms plus C. Here what is the value of C? Nothing but 0. So it is started from origin, not from any other value. Okay, that part we have to take care. A linear element or network is one which satisfies the principle of superposition and and homogeneity. That means it the principle of homogeneity and additivity it has to satisfy. Okay. Now resistors, inductors and capacitors are the example of linear elements, and their properties do not change with a change in the applied voltage and the circuit element. But there is one point that if capacitor and inductors are initially charged, that means it has some initial charged value, then it is not a linear element, it becomes non-linear because it starts from not from origin, from some higher value or lower value, positive charge or negative charge, whatever, lower value. Now if in this case capacitor inductors are linear element when it is initially relaxed. Initially relaxed means that it do not have any initial charge stored. Now nonlinear elements Vi characteristics do not follow the linear pattern. That is, current passing through it does not change linearly with linear change in the voltage across it. Examples are initially charged inductor, capacitor, and diode, transistor, MOSFET, all these kind of semiconductor devices. Now characteristics, if you see, look into that. This is started the linear, this is straight line, but it is started not from origin, started from above. So this is non-linear. Now here you can see this is started from, this is totally linear characteristics. I mean straight line, but it is started point from origin 0. That means what? That means what? It is started, it is a linear. So this is linear. Now here you can see this is going through origin, but this part is not straight line. So this is a non-linear. And again it is passing through origin, but it is a exponential term, look like exponential curve. So this is again non-linear. So among these four, only this graph is the linear characteristics. Now elements of an electric circuit, that is a unilateral element or component. Unilateral. Uni means what? One. That means what? If the polarity of the voltage is changed, then the characteristics of Vi also changed. Then the element is called unilateral. That means it is one directional. Okay. That means if in unilateral, if the terminal of the component is changed, then the properties of the circuit changed. It is unilateral. In one way, it's flowing current in some manner. If you change the polarity, it what happens? It change the previous characteristics changes. Then it is unilateral element. For example, a diode. If you know what is diode, that for diode when it is forward biased, it is showing a exponential curve, and in when it is reverse biased, this is something like this, something like this. When it is forward biased, diode is forward biased, it is exponential curve, zero after some voltage, it is start exponentially, and when it is reverse biased, it is zero up to some point, then increase drastically. So when polarity is forward biased, it is look like exponential. For reverse bias, when polarity changes, it becomes other characteristics. Then these both are different characteristics. So it is unilateral device diode. So P junction diode, BJT, MOSFET, all are unilateral device. Now bilateral element or component. If the polarity of the voltage is changed, then the characteristics of Vi remains the same. Then the element is bilateral, that is the circuit whose properties does not change with the direction or with the polarity change. Resistor, if I connect any resistor with changed terminals, then you can see there are no effect on the system. The best example of bilateral element is the transmission line or any conducting wire, okay, or any resistance. If so, example of bilateral is resistor, inductor, capacitor. Those are the bilateral element. Now, say finding the nature of elements. Say this is the mm, Vi characteristics. What is the nature of the circuit elements? Now, verify verifying the network element as linear or non-linear. What you have to see that this is in starting. This is passing through origin, and this is a straight line. So it is the linear element. Then verify active or passive. Now you can see this is in first coordinate, so V positive, I positive, so P equal to positive. Now Vi both are negative, Vi both are negative, that means it is P equal to Vi again. So it becomes passive element only. So the given Vi characteristic of the network element lies first and third coordinate, that means it is a passive element. Now say unilateral bilateral. Now what we can see here that for every point I and V on the characteristics, there exists corresponding point at minus I minus V. That means this part is similar to this part. That means what? It is bilateral. if this part, positive part and negative part opposite, I mean not matches, then it becomes unilateral. So this characteristics is for linear passive bilateral element. Take another example. Now whether it is linear non-linear, so you can see it started going through origin, but it is going through origin a straight line, after that it is not a straight line. Okay, so it is not, total characteristics is not a straight line, though it is passing from origin, so it is a non-linear element. Now second is active or passive. Now you can see this is in first coordinate and third coordinate, so both p is positive, so it is a passive element. And what we can see here, that this is a bilateral or unilateral, so you have to take one point. So this is the point where this is 5 amp and 5 volt, right? But here it is minus 3 volt minus 3 amp. So at these two points are different, both are different, not the same. That means it is an unilateral element. So these characteristics is for linear passive unilateral elements. So these are the some other examples. So this is first and third coordinate, so passive and linear, okay, and bilateral, both are same way. Now here this part is in second quadrant, that means what, it becomes active. So this is active. Now this is showing non-linear cat and this is unilateral, both are not same. Again it is having a fourth coordinate, so this becomes active, unilateral and non-linear. Again this is first and third, so passive, non-linear because this is not a total straight line, and unilateral. Say these two are same, assuming. And this is for active because second coordinate p is negative, so active, and this is a, and here we have constant term, so non-linear and unilateral, because one way this way, another one is constant 0. Again this is unilateral, why, this is a constant term, this is this one, so not, both are not same. Okay, unilateral, non-linear, okay, and passive because this is in third coordinate and this is in first coordinate. And here it is again active, second coordinate, and this is non-linear type of graph, and unilateral because both are same, we are assuming both are not same. Okay. Now again this is first coordinate, third coordinate, so a passive, the characteristics is non-linear, and this is unilateral because this is the characteristics are here different. Now say here this is first coordinate, third coordinate. I think you have remembered this point. First quadrant, and passive means first and third, active means second and fourth. Passive means P should be positive, active means P should be negative. So this becomes passive, non-linear characteristics, and bilateral, both are same. Now lumped circuit. Lumped circuit is what? In electrical circuits, if the physical size of element is negligibly small when compared with wavelength of electromagnetic wave propagation, then the element is modeled as lumped element. Okay. The lumped element can be represented with its parameter like resistance or inductance with its total value at place. That means that those values are constant, not changing. Example, resistors, inductors, capacitor. That means what? It is having same current that is flowing through this R, L and C. Why? Because this physical size is very small than the wavelength of the electromagnetic wave propagation. That is the, what is the voltage frequency of the circuit. If you compare that, we have to find out the wavelength. How? Wavelength equal to C by F. C is the speed of light, 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. F, if suppose F is 300 megahertz, 300 into 10 to the power 6, wavelength becomes 1 meter. Okay. Now if this circuit is very, I mean the length becomes 1 meter. if this is 300, say 300, say 300 kilohertz, then this length will be very high. If this length is very high, okay, that means that wavelength of the electromagnetic wave propagation is very higher, then that is lumped. Now suppose in a circuit, distributed element circuit, that is if the physical size of the element is comparable with wavelength of electromagnetic wave propagation, then such an element is modeled as distributed element. Now this is for transmission line. It is applicable for transmission line. The transmission line, the length is say in some kilometers or thousands of kilometers, like that. Then what happens? The lambda will be comparable with the distance. In this element, resistance, inductance, or capacitance are distributed and cannot be separated and modeled at a single point. Okay, and they are distributed throughout the circuit. So the resistance and capacitance and inductance values are physically changing. Now, long transmission lines in which the resistance, capacitance, inductance are distributed throughout the line. Okay, that is the example. And elements in high frequency electronic circuit. Why I am saying that high frequency electronic circuit? Because if this is 300 megahertz, wave lambda becomes wavelength becomes 1 meter. If instead of 300, if you 300 gigahertz, that means 10 to the power 9. So that means it becomes in less than, this is 10 to the power 9 means this is 9. So 8 cancel out. So here that is 3 by 30 become in less than 1 meter, or maybe in centimeter, it comes in centimeter, and the circuit size is comparable with that. So elements in high frequency el- electronic circuit, we have to take care of the distributed circuit. If very high frequency is very high, that is the example. Now let me just show you different interconnection of sources. Suppose two voltage sources are in parallel, that time both value should be same. If two current sources connected in series, that time the value should be same. That means if one voltage source value is 10 volt, another is 5 volt, that is the wrong connection. If one current is going 5 amp and here it is 2 amp is leaving from that node, so it violates the KCL, it violates KVL. KCL, KVL, we will study about that later on in the next lecture. So in series current must be same. Here different means wrong connection. In parallel voltage must be same. So it is different. I mean wrong connection. Now 10 volt and here 5 amp, that we can do. Why? Because we don't know how much current is leaving from this 10 volt source, and we don't know how much voltage drop across the, and this is in series, so there is no problem. Now again, so this is a voltage source but dependent diamond shaped, but this is a voltage control voltage source. Now Vs equal to 3 Vx, Vx value is 5, so this is 15 volt. Now 15 volt 5 volt cannot connect in parallel, so this is wrong connection. Voltage source current source, now this can be connected. Okay, now this, if again current source voltage source, so okay, this can be connected. But now we get two current source. Now one current source is, these two current source connected in series. One is 2 ampere, another one is 3 ix. Ix is 2, so 6 ampere. So 2 ampere, 6 ampere cannot connect in series. That must be same. So this is a wrong connection. Again, 10 volt, 5 volt cannot connect in parallel. That is a wrong connection. And this is the main another point that you have to take care in mini circuit. That suppose if there is a voltage source and it is shorted in parallel, it is shorted. Shorted means what? The voltage becomes VAB across VAB, voltage across VA becomes 0. The short circuit means what? Resistance equal to 0, whatever the current flowing, IR equal to P, that is equal to 0, because R becomes 0. Now, if you short circuit with this voltage source has no effect. It becomes short circuited, or value becomes 0. Now, an application of parallel voltage sources, that is used in many cases. one of the use is jumping a dead car battery. That means suppose you have a car and that battery is dead somehow. Okay, so what we can do is we can take another extra battery from outside and we can connect the positive of that good battery to positive of the dead battery, negative of the good battery to negative of the dead battery. Then what happens? These two are connected in parallel. Then what happens? Your car will start because it will take the power from this particular good battery. Okay, so that is called jumping a dead car battery. So this is how they are using the concept of parallel voltage source. Okay, so anyway, so this is it. This is for today. Thank you so much.